Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1855B, and today's date is April 30th, 2019, and the title of the episode is 5-4 to go, Patriots in control, Deep State is being shut down. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about staying healthy as we grow older. Stem cells are your body's natural healing system. You get a cut on your finger one day and the next day it heals up. Well, how does that happen? Easy. It's your bodily stem cells at work. Sad part is by age 65, you've lost 90% of your adult stem cells. But now you may be able to boost stem cells levels naturally within 1 hour by 30% with a new plant-based capsule. Everyone's chemistry is different, but for many, this produces a variety of benefits to help reduce the effects of aging. This product comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Please visit their website at stemup.com. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are becoming very, very desperate. We have Schiff, Nadler, Biden, and the rest, and they're pushing their agenda. But one thing is for sure, the Patriots are in control. Because when the mainstream media is out there and they're pushing these individuals and pushing their ideas, this is how you know they have absolutely nothing. Go back to the time when we had Russian collusion and how the mainstream media, how certain politicians, how the deep state, Brennan and the rest, were pushing Russian collusion, the Steele dossier and everything else. They were pushing it like there was no tomorrow, like it was real. They're doing the same thing now. And we see many, many events happening all at the same time. And I believe that the plan now is starting to all come together, and a lot of things have to be wrapped up. And we also have to understand is that these reports, they will be coming out, and we're starting to see events, but it seems like the Patriots are stopping certain events from occurring. And we'll be talking about that in just a moment. But I wanted to go back to Buttigieg with this individual, Hunter Kelly, where Kelly revealed that, Buttigieg was sexually harassing him and he was a gay man and he didn't want this to happen to anyone else. Well, it turns out that this individual, Hunter Kelly, he is saying that he was set up by Wohl. And this is Pete Wohl. And he said he met this individual under false pretenses. He said, I was approached by a political figure to come to D.C. to discuss political situations from the standpoint of a gay Republican. Hunt wrote in his official statement, when I arrived, they discussed Peter Buttigieg and started talking about how they would be working on a campaign against him. He says he then woke up the next day to learn his name was used to spread a false rape accusation against Buttigieg. Now, Wohl was banned from Twitter earlier this year after telling the media he planned to create a series of fake Twitter accounts to spread lies and disinformation about the Mueller investigation and President Trump's political opponents. According to the report, his plan was to circulate false rumors accusing Mueller of sexually impropriety and sexual assault. So it seems like something is going on with this. Something happened, and it looks like this might be a complete fake story, and we'll have to see how this all plays out here. Now, Biden is out there, as we know. He's running for the presidency, and he is out there saying that Congress should move forward with impeachment proceedings if Trump tries to block the investigation. Now, we need to remember something very important about all these individuals, Schiff, Nadler, Biden, and the rest. They're the ones who are in trouble. They're the ones who are going to be on trial. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get rid of Trump before this happens. And this is why they are pushing so hard right now, because they realize and they understand if they cannot get rid of Trump right now, they are in big trouble. I mean, Nadler is out there. He's the House Judiciary Committee chairman. And he's saying that he's going to be fining Trump officials who do not honor congressional subpoenas. I mean, this is how desperate they're getting. Trump tweeted out the following. Bob Mueller was a great hero to the radical left Democrats. Now that the Mueller report is finished with a finding of no collusion and no obstruction, based on a review of report by our highly respected AG, the Dems are going around saying, Bob who? Sorry, don't know the man. Of course, they hired Mueller. They thought the outcome was going to be very, very different. But you have to remember, Trump, the Patriots, they have everything on these individuals. They have everything on Rosenstein. They have everything on Mueller. And all of these individuals were fighting to save themselves. So they didn't do what they were supposed to do, which was to get Trump, because they presented them what they had, and I'm talking about Trump and the Patriots, and they said, listen, you have a choice here. Either you go along with the deep state and follow your agenda, which means you'll be going to jail, or you help us out. And guess what they did? They helped the Patriots out. Now, Adam Schiff, he is really stuck, and he is grabbing at anything right now. And he is saying that he is preparing to make criminal referral for Blackwater founder Eric Prince to the Department of Justice. He says the evidence strongly suggests that he misled our committees. Now, Schiff is saying that he lied to Congress, but Prince may actually be protected from the charges because his so-called misleading statements to Congress may have come from his volunteer sessions with Mueller. Now, Mueller previously investigated whether the founder of the security firm Blackwater, Eric Prince, misled the House Intel panel over a meeting he had in the Seychelles Island in January 2017. Eric Prince was accused of trying to set up a secret back channel with Russia during this meeting in the Seychelles Island. Prince, who is also brother to Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, denied trying to set up back channel to the Kremlin in November of 2017 when he testified in front of the House Intel panel. Now, what's very interesting is if Trump was already colluding with Russia and he's already a Russian agent, why would Eric Prince need to set up a secret back channel to communicate with Russia after the election? It makes no sense. But Schiff is going after Eric Prince, and the question is why? Why is he going after him? The same reason he went and others went after Flynn. Because he knows where the bodies are buried. Prince is the head of the paid mercenary group Blackwater. Then he renamed it to Academia. Remember, they were in Ukraine. They were in Syria. They were in Iraq. They're in many of these countries where they were pushing regime change. Prince knows where the bodies are buried, just like Flynn. This is going to backfire on Schiff because this will allow Prince to tell the Department of Justice everything he knows about what went on in the Middle East. And this is going to implicate all these individuals. Be careful what you wish for, Schiff. Because we can see right now, it's going to completely backfire on him. Now we see Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. He's written his resignation letter to Trump. His resignation is effective May 11th, 2019. Let's go back to post 3315. And it says, Rod's departure next. This was April 18th, 2019. Rod Rosenstein submitted his resignation to the president, and now he is no longer with the Department of Justice. He served his purpose. Now, Brian Gates tweeted out the following. Here is the relevant section. In order to testify against these Spygate plotters, both Sessions and Rod Rosenstein had to exit the Department of Justice. They can't be government office holders with official powers during the trials. Let me read this section here. Why a new Attorney General for prosecution phase? The real battlefield has never been in the news media. The losing side picked the wrong battlefield. All the leaking in the world to the Washington Post or the New York Times won't change the outcome now. Trump is getting ready to make two key moves on this battlefield as he prepares for the fight. The first is a new Attorney General for the prosecution phase. The second key move will involve the courts. The former recused Attorney General is now gone. Jeff Sessions was always going to have to recuse himself from the 2016 election-related investigations, and he was always going to have to step down from the Attorney General post before the prosecution phase could begin, and here's why. There was simply no way Sessions could stay in charge of the Department of Justice investigations of people who had targeted him as a Russian agent and tried to prove he colluded with Russians. His recusal was absolutely necessary, and people who dispute this are simply wrong. Likewise, before it came time for the prosecutions of those plotters who targeted Sessions, he was going to have to step down as Attorney General because he was going to be called as a witness in the prosecutions. A sitting Attorney General can't be a witness in a case his own Justice Department is prosecuting. William Barr is coming in now to take over the next phase, while Sessions is free to appear as a witness and testify about what McCabe and other plotters told him at the time they were trying to entrap him. Do you know who would also have to leave his current job at the Department of Justice to be a witness in these prosecutions? Because like Sessions, he's involved a lot of this as a witness. Rod Rosenstein. And Rosenstein just resigned. Now he can be a witness. Now let's talk about the illegal immigrants, because Trump now has directed his deputies to quickly draft regulations which will deny work permits to asylum-seeking illegal immigrants, shorten the asylum process to 180 days, and charge migrants a fee to apply for asylum. The new directive provides a legal foundation for the fast-track regulations when they are attacked in court by progressive judges and pro-migration groups. The regulations will be published by the end of July. Roughly 100,000 adults and children crossed the border in March. In the 12 months up to October, roughly 1 million poor migrants are expected to use the various catch-and-release loopholes, including requests for asylum, to stay and work in the United States for at least several years. The migrants use the loopholes to take jobs in blue-collar workplaces. So this forces down wages for blue-collar Americans. The migrants also send their kids to the schools used by blue-collar Americans, so damaging the education received by American kids. Remember, these people are here illegally. And Trump tweeted out the following: "If the Democrats don't give us the votes to change our weak, ineffective, and dangerous immigration laws, we must fight hard for these votes in the 2020 election." Now, we understand that the deep state, certain Dems, they're out there trying to push gun control. And the latest event in a synagogue, we see that Feinstein is out there saying that we need to introduce legislation to increase the minimum age to buy assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in the wake of the shooting in California. Now, if you notice, every event that happens that has to do with shootings, they push their gun control. They try to use the crisis to push their legislation. What they really want is they want what happened in New Zealand. There was a shooting event, and then all of a sudden they pass legislation, and now assault weapons are banned. That's what they really want, but it's not happening. I mean, let's take a look at the UK for a sec. The UK, they ban weapons. And we have to remember, they're inanimate objects. They don't do these things on their own. I mean, think about it. We've had people in cars on purpose drive into a crowd of people and kill and injure many people. I mean, should we ban cars? Or did everyone turn to the person and say that person was at fault? Same thing with a weapon. Someone who picks up a weapon, it's not the weapon, it's the person using the weapon. I mean, look at UK. They banned guns. Now they're having a knife problem. And now they're looking to what? Ban knives. So they're going from one inanimate object to another inanimate object. What's the central problem here? It's the person using the inanimate object. It's not the weapon. You can make anything a weapon. I mean, instead of knives, if they ban knives, people are going to use bats. Where does it end? So the British politicians, they're proposing banning home delivery of knives, and police promote street corner bins for the surrender of knives while also conducting stings against knife vendors. I mean, it's just unbelievable what is happening here. So the people of the UK, they're getting rid of their guns. They're getting rid of their knives. The next phase is going to be getting rid of what? Toasters? I mean, this is just becoming ridiculous. So what they really are trying to do here is they're trying to make sure that the people have no way of fighting back. Because if you don't have anything to fight back with, let's say you only have a bat, well, how is a bat going to go up against a gun or a knife? It's going to be very, very difficult. And this is exactly what they're trying to do here, which means complete control. And this is why the Founding Fathers put the Second Amendment in there, to protect all the other rights. Now, out in Venezuela, we can see Guaido is pushing his agenda. And who's behind Guaido? We know it's the neocons. We have Bolton, we have Pompeo, we have many others. And Guaido has called on the military to stage a coup. Pompeo says Guaido has the White House full support in the opposition leader's call for a military uprising against Maduro. And they're monitoring this very, very closely. Now, the Venezuelan armed forces, they remain loyal to the country's legitimate government. Venezuela Defense Minister Vladimir Pedrino Lopez stated this on Twitter. The Venezuelan armed forces are strongly in favor of the nation's constitution and legitimate government. All military units of the republic report that the situation in their quarter and at military bases under the command of their officers is under control. The minister called the military officers supporting the opposition leader, Juan Guaido, traitors and cowards. Now, Guaido posted a short video which shows him talking into camera with about 30 soldiers standing behind him. Some members of the armed force released Leopoldo Lopez. He is an opposition leader. He was under house arrest since 2014 when he organized violent protests against the government. Guaido and Lopez went to the La Carlota Air Force Base near Caracas, and Lopez tweeted out the following: "Final phase has begun for the cessation of usurpation, Operation Freedom. I've been released by the military to the order of the Constitution and of the President Guaido. I am at the La Carlota base. All to mobilize. It's time to conquer freedom, strength, and face." It has now been confirmed that Guaido and Lopez did not enter La Carlota Air Base. It is under control of government forces. Some soldiers are said to have been deceived. The metro of Caracas was shut down by the government. A short video and a photo show a few low-ranked soldiers on a highway bridge with a carton of bananas and a basket of machine gun ammunition. Besides one machine gun, they are armed with normal rifles and pistols. They are marked with a blue armlet or masks as Guaido supporters. Someone has pointed out that the soldiers supporting Guaido carry M4 Colt assault rifles. The official rifle of the Venezuelan military is the Kalashnikov AK-103. Back in February, there was a number of flights from Florida to Venezuela which delivered weapons to the opposition. Now, it has become clear that this coup attempt is no more than maybe a PR campaign. Remember that whole bridge incident with the truck and, there were people throwing Molotov cocktails and how the whole thing was completely staged? Well, it looks like the same thing is happening once again. The whole coup attempt was run within a 500 by 200 meter corridor with nothing of significance happening outside of it. A dangerous propaganda stunt by so far nothing more than that. Luis Castillo tweeted out the following: "Coup soldiers surrendered in Venezuela and claimed they were brought to the uprising under deception by military deserters, followers of John Guaido. Let's make it viral." A small group, tiny military police officers, decided to kidnap some GNB vehicles, armaments, and ammunition. They broke in this morning, and what they did was they used them to stage an event, which was caught on camera. And the opposition TV show Guaido and Lopez talking in a crowd of maybe 1,000 all-white people in Altamira. There were 6 men in Army and National Guard uniforms with them, plus 4 bulky bodyguards in civilian clothes, one of color. They drove away in 4 armored SUVs with darkened windows. And it looks like this was a PR stunt to make it look like Guaido had this entire military behind him, that everyone defected and everyone is behind Guaido. Now, maybe the people are going to stand up and say, listen, we want a different leader. If they truly want a different leader, they will have to join forces together and push Maduro out of office. Now remember, Venezuela has a voter ID system, which means the people of Venezuela, they were recorded when they voted, which means he is the legitimate leader of Venezuela. The people actually voted for him. And we know for a very long time, the deep state and the neocons, they've been trying to remove Maduro and replace them with a puppet person. And it looks like this puppet person is Guaido. Now, Bolton is suggesting that the U.S. can intervene militarily in Venezuela and all options are on the table. Now, let's think logically here for a second. Trump is stopping the endless wars in Syria, in Ukraine, in Libya, in Iraq. He wanted peace in North Korea, but he wants war in Venezuela? It makes no sense. And it looks like the neocons, they are behind all of this. And Trump tweeted out something very interesting. He said, I am monitoring the situation in Venezuela very closely. The United States stands with the people of Venezuela and their freedom. Now, why I say this is interesting is because he's saying that he stands with the people of Venezuela and their freedom. He didn't tweet out that he is completely behind Guaido and that America is behind him and, the United States stands with him. Maybe he'll tweet this out later, but it's very odd that he didn't tweet that out, that he was tweeting out that the United States stands with the people of Venezuela and their freedom. Now, freedom from what? Freedom from Maduro? Freedom from the deep state? Because think about what happened in North Korea. Think about what happened in Syria. Think about what has been happening all around us. And if he was going to say that he was behind Guaido, he would have just said it. And he's monitoring the situation, and he stands with the people of Venezuela for their freedom, which I still believe the mission in Venezuela is to remove the deep state operatives from this country and to stop what has been happening in Cuba, where it looks like there's a flow of military assets, opposition individuals, intelligence agency figures, all being placed into Venezuela to try to push regime change. But we'll have to see how this all plays out and see if the people actually decide, something, it is time to have a different leader. And that would be up to the people to decide, not the neocons, not the deep state, not any of these individuals. And if the people are truly behind Guaido, they will do this. But at this point, I don't see this happening right now. Now, it looks like Trump is out there and he is declaring the Muslim Brotherhood as a terror group following a visit from the president of Egypt earlier this month. The designation would impose severe travel and economic sanctions on those who associate with the group, which has millions of members across the Middle East. Trump has asked his administration to figure out a way to make the designation happen. Now, Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders confirmed the news. Now, Imam Mohammed Tawhidi tweeted out the following. If Trump designates the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist org, it will be the biggest hit to the global Islamist movement. MB has the most organized network of institutions, politicians, and banks. This will shake their empire. Do it ASAP. And you can see Trump is hitting hard at those individuals that are in this organization that are the deep state players that are pushing everything that we are seeing today. And this is Obama, Brennan, and the rest. Now, what's very interesting is that the feds arrested a suspect that was trying to plot some type of an event, and he was going to have multiple targets in Southern California. So this individual, Mark Stephen Domingo, who is 26, who is a former U.S. Army infantryman who served in Afghanistan, he was arrested Friday after he received what he thought was a bomb, but it was actually an inert device applied to him by an undercover law enforcement officer. So let's get this straight. There's this individual who they're saying is a U.S. vet who is trying to create a bomb and use it in Southern California. Now, one thing we need to understand is that this individual is Muslim. And this individual was trying to create an event to get back at certain individuals. Because online posts and in conversations with the FBI source, Domingo expressed support for violent jihad, a desire to seek retribution or attacks against Muslims, and willingness to become a martyr, according to the affidavit. After considering various attacks, including targeting Jews, churches, police officers, Domingo decided to detonate an IED at a rally scheduled to take place in Long Beach this past weekend. As part of the plot, Domingo asked his confederate, who actually was cooperating with the FBI as part of the investigation, to find a bomb maker. And Domingo last week purchased several hundred nails to be used as shrapnel inside the IED. Undercover operatives delivered multiple inert devices, which Domingo believed were weapons of mass destruction. After inspecting the devices and traveling to the park in Long Beach to surveil the location of the planned attack, Domingo was taken into custody. Now, according to the criminal complaint, Domingo posted online video professing his Muslim faith on March 2nd, and the next day made another posting in which he said, "America needs another Vegas event." Remember the tweet that Comey put out? 5 jihads. Was this the first one, and do we have 4 more to go? Because we understand that they're going to try to clog the news cycle. And it seems like they have all of this planned, but the Patriots intercepted what was going on and stopped the event. Now the news doesn't have this. Yes, they're focusing on Venezuela right now, but they don't have this other event. So this means, it to me, from the tweet, we have 4 more to go. And I think they're going to get worse and worse as time goes on. Because, like we said way back, we know that the Comey report is coming out. Now, they're saying it's coming out in 2 weeks, but this might be disinformation once again to make them use their ammunition. But if it does come out in 2 weeks, they're going to, and it doesn't matter if it does or it doesn't, they're going to try to use events to keep the news cycle clogged up. But we know that the Comey report will be coming out. I mean, if it's 3 weeks, it's not really that big of a deal. The point is, they're trying to get these deep state operatives to use their ammunition because they know what they're trying to do here. They hear the chatter. They know what's going on. And I do believe we're going to see a lot more of this. Now, I think the Patriots, they understand what is going on, and I believe they're going to try to stop every single one of these. And we'll have to see how this plays out. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.